So we are in Sterling Heights. You hear a lot of traffic in the background because that is all the traffic from Van Dyke, which everybody knows is a very busy artery. And we are essentially between 18 and 19 Mile. And right now we are looking to the east. This is what is known as the Vokes Drain. It's a very old drain that was put in decades and decades ago to drain a huge portion of Sterling Heights. So on the west side of Van Dyke, again between 18 and 19 Mile, this Vokes Drain runs well over a mile, actually closer to 2 miles. This thing goes so far, and it meanders all around, and it's got a bunch of different laterals that come into it. And over all the years, if you're familiar with this area, it's heavily industrial. So all of these industrial buildings here, I mean, there's automotive, there's, high tech, there's everything here. And over all the years, this industrial area has developed, and this drain is responsible for taking all of their stormwater, right? So stormwater management for a huge portion of Sterling Heights Industrial Complex. But yet, what has happened in this drain is nothing over all of these years. And it's one of the things I found since I've had this job. Another one of these situations where nothing was really addressed. And so what has happened in this particular drain, all of these areas here have been complaining about flooding, right? And of course, as you all know, we're getting a lot more rain, and certainly the intensity of the rain. And they just haven't been able to drain properly. And it's not only the industrial areas. There's quite a few residential areas, of course, up in the area also, that all of these things are draining into this Vokes Drain. So we took a look in the drain, and what did we find? And this is a very large drain. It's an elliptical drain. And what we found actually was that you can imagine over 50 plus years, everything that has gone into this drain hardened into several feet of sedimentation. So the drain was not working, okay, in very simplistic terms. And it wasn't just like mush, the sediment that was in there. You had a lot of road grit, all of these asphalt parking lots have been built over all of these decades. Some of those tailings get into the storm drain. Things happen, right? So all of this that has happened in the drain resulted in it actually being very hard. I mean, it wasn't something you could just flush out, or take a shovel and start taking it out of there. So this has turned into what we thought would be a relatively simple drain clean out. It actually has turned into well over $500,000 we have spent now to clean this out. So we're upwards of that. And this particular project is being paid for something we call our 50-50 match program. So half of it is being paid by Macomb County, and we get those funds through our County Board of Commissioners, who has been very supportive. And then the other half comes from the municipality, in this case Sterling Heights, who has kicked in the other half. And we've worked very closely with our partners, and in this case the city of Sterling Heights has been great. They prioritize this drain, obviously all of this flooding that's been going on, nowhere for the water to go. So we're making great progress. It's not quite complete, but we're on the tail end of this thing now, and we have been working on it a long time. So I'm first going to ask Steve Downing, who's my construction engineer, to talk a little bit about what we found and what we've been doing. And then I'm going to ask Joe here, who owns a Doge. You see their trucks all over. They're a great local contractor. Of course, they're all over the country, but you do a lot of work here right in your own home county of Macomb, and he'll tell us about what his individuals have found as they've worked their way through the drain. So let me start with you, Steve.
Well, thanks, Candice. Yeah, as Candice mentioned, there's a lot of debris that was discovered during the initial cleaning of this project, or this pipe, I should say. After receiving some complaints and having discussions with the city of Sterling Heights, the first logical approach was to go ahead and get an inspection and clean it out. We had reason to believe that the drain was impacted. We actually thought that an old concrete batch plant might have created an obstruction in this drain from years of washout that was neglected. So that was kind of our initial target. But as we got going, we realized that one, there was a lot more sediment than expected, and two, this drain hadn't been touched in over 50 years since it was enclosed at the development of this business industrial area. So we've been working with our contractor Doge, as well as the city of Sterling Heights, to go through and make sure we get this cleaned out as efficiently as we possibly can, and at the same time monitoring to make sure that we're doing everything we can to mitigate flooding in this business complex. We've been fortunate that none of the residential areas north of here have been impacted to this point, but obviously our businesses are a big tax part of the city here, and we want to do our best to serve them. So that's really been our goal, is to get this cleaned up and to properly convey the stormwater flow.
Very good. Thanks, Steve. Joe Sodenberg runs Doge. As I say, you see their trucks all over. They do a lot of work for us. They do a lot of work for all the municipalities here. And I know your guys have been out here on the job. So tell me, if you were one of your workers here, what you actually found in the drain, Joe. Hold that mic if you want.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner. So the drain itself, what we found a lot of is it was hardened debris. Normally when we go in with high pressure water and slurry up the debris, we're able to extract it back to this point behind us and vacuum it. However, in this case here, we also had to go in with hydraulic hammers, shovels, picks, in order to get out these layers and layers of debris that were in this drain over time. And also, while you have a very good handle on how this drain operates now, we don't know over the last 50 years how long it was left open, how long it was closed. So as far as the construction debris that we're seeing in there, car parts, you name it, it's out of sight, out of mind, and now we're unearthing all of it.
You found a lot of sandbags in there as well, right? People had thrown sandbags in where they were tapping and everything, and then they walked away. They did their parking lot or whatever, they just left them in, the contractor. Who knows, right? It could have happened 40 years ago.
So absolutely. So for drainage control for other projects, we see a lot of that, but that's also where your inspection process that you have throughout the whole county is so critical to make sure that these operate all the time, and then also for future generations, they don't have a problem with deeds of the past.
Right, absolutely. Thanks, Joe. And Steve, you know, one of the things, and I appreciate Joe saying that, we're not just doing this for the immediacy, we're doing it for our children, for our grandchildren, right? So we really need to make sure that many of these projects that we're doing, we need to look forward. You can't have this happening again, right? And there has to be regular maintenance done, inspections that are done. And we have something called an asset management program, where we are using technology really to document all of our assets, like the Vokes Drain is one of our assets, or the 15-mile road interceptor, all the different assets under our jurisdiction in the public works. And we put all of these things in our system, and everything that happens with them, we enter in all that data. So, you know, if you're the building inspector in Sterling Heights 30 years from now, whoever that person is, they're going to be able to pull up a lot of historical data about this drain, what we did in the drain, what we found, some of the problems that we found in this drain, so that they're better able to address those issues as we go forward. So we have to correct some of the problems from the past, but we also have to look to the future so that future generations don't have the same situation that what we found here. Anyway, we wanted to just tell you about the Vokes Drain. You're walking along the sidewalk, there's just been some people walking along here. They look at this drain and probably think, oh, well, there it is, just some waterways, right? They're not really thinking, of course, because they don't know, of this huge area that this thing is responsible for the stormwater management. And that's what we do. We're stormwater managers. So thanks for joining us. And hopefully we're going to be done with this particular drain pretty quick. We'll move on to the next one. Thank you.
Follow us on social media. For more information, explore our website. Reach out via email or connect through our toll-free hotline, 1-877-679-4337.